Now, if you're going to buy land, you're going to have to think about all these things. Are you going to have to bring it with pipes all the way to get it there? Where's the power coming from? Is it already there? Are you going to have generators? Are you going to use solar? Welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas. I've been involved as an investor in tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property for over 30 years. Now, today we're going to talk about formulating some questions on what to do when buying land. Now, these tax defaulted auctions, they're taking place in over 3,000 counties, and I've found that about 20% of the properties that are being auctioned are land. This is something you want to learn a little bit about so that you can save yourself money and buy for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar. All right, now there's abundance of land, and many different types of land are for sale at tax defaulted auctions. So some of it's agricultural land, some of it's recreational land, some of it's development land, some of it's just residential land. You're getting the idea. So the place to start is probably with a land broker, so they give you a little more information, but you definitely want to start checking out on land, okay? Now, this Land Watch, that's a website you can check. There's land.com, there's Flipland. These are all things that you can start. Now, everybody wants to sell you land, and they're going to have a high price on it. I'm going to tell you, at the tax defaulted auction, people are buying land for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar. So let's learn a little bit more about it. All right, now there's agricultural land where they could have row crops. Now, what's row crops? So that could be strawberries or lettuce, or it could be an orchard where they have apples and oranges. So you get that. That's agricultural land, all right? Now, people are looking at agricultural land, they're going to push the price up. Why? Because most of those people are ROI investors. They're looking for a return on investment. So if you can find agricultural land, that's good because it's developing money. All right, now, if it's at the tax defaulted auction, you have to take a good close look at it. Why is it at the auction? Why didn't they pay the tax on it? All right, now that's not the only kind of land, okay? There's going to be recreational land. There's going to be land that people want to develop. So there's all different kinds. Now, these people that are ROI investors, they really want to get a return on their investment right away. So either they're going to turn around and resell it quickly, or they're going to hire management and go in and be able to manage whatever crop they're going to be able to put on that land. All right, now some of the rural land can be developed. All right, now developers make a lot of money, but it's a high-risk situation. I'm not qualified to tell you about development, but I am qualified to tell you there's going to be over 3,000 auctions. These properties will sell for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar, and there'll be no mortgage, and there'll be no deed of trust on the property. Now, what do you have to start looking for? Well, let's add to that list we talked about. Where is the water? Where is the water coming from? What's the source? Okay, land needs water if you're going to develop it at all. Okay, what is the drainage of that land? A lot of people don't even think about that. What if you get too much rain and too much snow? All right, what are you going to do about power? Okay, now if you're going to have crops on the land, you're going to need power to pump water onto it and to do whatever. If you're going to develop the land, you're going to need power for the houses, you're going to need power for farms and whatever. So you need to learn about those kind of things. So put those on your list. What about ingress and egress? Okay, that means what about the roads? I mean, are they dirt roads? Are they gravel roads? What kind of roads are you going to have on there? All right. Now, land investments, you have to satisfy yourself. You need to go look at all these things because in a regular development of homes, everything's developed for you. The roads are in, the utilities are in. You don't have to worry about it. Now, if you're going to buy land, you're going to have to think about all these things, so you probably want to make a list. All right. Now, if you're sitting in a car looking at land, it all looks the same. So if you look out there, it's all going to look the same. All right. So the parcel you're buying, whether it's at auction or not at auction, is your parcel encroaching on somebody else's? In other words, is your fence over on someone else's land? Or it could be just the opposite. Is someone else encroaching on your land? So you need some kind of land survey. So I suggest to people get a survey or do the title report so that you know that what you're buying. Because if you're sitting in a car, you're not going to be able, there's no line out there on top of the grass telling you where your land is. So you're going to have to think about surveys. All right, so without a survey, it's very difficult to understand what you're buying. So this is unique. It's different than buying in subdivisions where you're buying houses where the lots are all completely laid out. All right, so what's your plan? Do you have a long-term plan or a short-term plan? All right, land is usually a long-term plan. The tax defaulted business, however, is one where you're going to buy at low prices, 10, 20 cents on the dollar, and probably sell at a little higher price, certainly maybe not the market, but you could buy it low, and knowing the market price is high, sell it in between. So buy low, sell low, and make a profit. So that's what I've done in the tax defaulted business. So look, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a real estate broker. I'm just a person that's an investor buying at these auctions. So I want to buy it low, then I want to sell it low, and I want to do it relatively quickly so that I can go back again. Because I know not very many people have trained themselves at tax defaulted auction. So if you're short term, you want to probably buy it low, sell it low, and do it quickly. Long term, real estate and land especially is usually a good long-term inflation protection device. In other words, buy the land and hold on to it. If inflation goes up 5%, usually the land will go up 5%. That's kind of a history thing that you can kind of look at. But the point is, land holds its value, but it doesn't make big leaps what development does. Development, it was raw land. Next thing you know, there's houses on it. It's worth a small fortune. So you're getting the idea. All right. Now, what are you going to do with your land? Are you going to put row crops? Are you going to put oranges and apples there? Are you going to put livestock on it? Are you going to run recreation vehicle? All right, so recreation land, what kind of land are you going to be allowed to have? All-terrain vehicles going up and down the hills and digging up the surface? Or are you going to be able to have hunting and fishing and whatever? You need to decide what it is you want to do with that land and see if you can get an approval for that. So nothing wrong with going to the county and checking that out. If you don't check that out before you buy, now you might end up with a piece of land you can't use. What if you couldn't put cattle on it? What if you couldn't do hunting or fishing on it? Land has rules, just like urban has rules. You're going to have the same kind of rules. The United States has 3,000 plus counties. These are all local governments. They're trying to get rid of property that they've had to confiscate. So about 20% of those properties are land. That means that those properties are being sold for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar. This is a great opportunity, but you need to understand land. You don't want to just buy it. You need to understand that this land has been abandoned. It's been foreclosed on by the county. In other words, the county has confiscated the property and the people have forfeited the land. So this is a big opportunity for people that want to make money. But you need to understand what you're buying so that you'll know how you're going to go about selling the property. Now, the legislature has made the rules. They've said people don't pay their taxes. They're going to confiscate the property and resell it. All right, the Board of Supervisors they're going to enforce those rules. That's all going to happen relatively quickly. All right, so every year they're going to have an auction in each county. Okay, they're going to put it in the newspaper. They're going to put it on the county website. Anybody can buy these properties. There's nothing glamorous about this business, but anybody can attend the auction. When you pay for a property at auction, you better have looked at it. Now, the big mistakes people make are this. Number one, they don't check the property. They don't have boots on the ground. If you don't have boots on the ground, you don't know whether there was a fire. You don't know whether there was a flood. You don't know whether there's been an earthquake. You don't know if there's a pig farm next door. You don't know if someone else is encroaching on your land. So you need to have boots on the ground. That's number one. Number two, the big mistake is people pay too much. So how do you keep from paying too much? Well, what you do is you go out and look at the land, and then you look at the property. What could you sell? What are the comparable sales around there? What could you sell that land for so you don't pay too much at auction? All right, so you need to make sure that you have an exit strategy. Two big mistakes: they don't look at the property, and they don't have an exit strategy. You see those little white circles? That's how many auctions are taking place within that state. This calendar updates every single day. I'm here today to show you how to make money. To do that, I'm going to show you briefly that there are thousands of tax defaulted real estate properties across the 3,000 plus counties in the United States. This is quite interesting. You're looking at the Ted Thomas Magic Interactive Map and Auction Calendar. It changes every day. Now, I created the calendar and the map so I would know how many auctions are taking place every day in the United States. Now I can show the little guy how to make money. Most importantly, I created this system so I could have an auction list for each auction 24/7. All right, now counties nationwide are selling property, okay? Now the small population counties, they're going to have dozens, even hundreds of properties they're going to auction at tax defaulted auction. Now the high population counties, in other words, a lot of people there, that means there's going to be a lot of tax defaults, okay? It could be hundreds, even thousands of properties coming up for sale. The interactive map that you could look at, if you'd like to know where the auctions are taking place and how many properties are available, just go right below me. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget, request your free gift right below me.